Just make sure you're sitting by your name. Is there a fourth name? Who else?
I thought he could sit on the end. He good.
Hey, who's the? Jaylen Gibbs.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Jaylen.
No, you sure?
We were not alerted.
I like this.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started here with our first press conference of the day. We're going to start with the Jacksonville State student athletes. With us today, we have Kayne Henry, Brendan Huffman, Darian Adams, and Jalen Gibbs. We're going to open it up for questions. When giving a question, please give your name and your affiliation. Let's get started. Questions? Yes, sir.
This is for Darian. I'm Mark Murphy from Inside the Auburn Tigers and 24/7 Sports. How important is shooting the three ball to what you guys do as a team?
It's very important. I mean, it's just something that we do and we work on all the time. But it's not. We can say we shoot the ball well, but it's not our main staple. I feel like we can do everything. We can get the ball inside. We can score too. But when our three-pointers going good, I feel like that's when we get a good run going. We get a better feel for the game. So I feel like it's important, but it's not the only thing that we can do.
Right here in the middle.
Nathan King, 24/7. I guess for Brandon, you scouting them in terms of their front court, just what have you seen out of guys like Jabari and Walker, and I guess what's kind of the offensive game plan for y'all going against them?
These guys have a really, really good front court. We're just focused on playing our game, making sure we can get the ball inside as well to match that, as well as defend it very well. We know Kessler is a really big defender. If I'm correct, I think he led the SEC in blocks or something along those lines. We're just making sure we can do what we do and play to our strengths.
All right, any more questions? All right, Pete.
This is for Kayne. Did you guys know that as long as you made the finals of your conference tournament that you'd be able to advance? Because it's unusual for a team to lose in the conference final and still be here. Did you guys know that that was the situation?
No, we didn't really know until after this semifinals game against Jacksonville. In our locker room, coach came in and told us the situation. That was really nothing much to it, but that was really it.
Follow up, Pete.
Yeah. I mean, how do you guys feel like you've bounced back from, you've got your mind right after losing the conference game, and that, you're ready for this honor?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, one loss isn't like a major setback for us. We're just gonna keep moving forward, no matter what happens. Just gonna keep working on from there.
Jaylen, you want to take that one too?
Yeah, I mean, we're just excited for the opportunity. I didn't know. I thought when we lost, it was over, the season was over. But we're just excited to be in here and ready to compete.
Avery, right there in the middle. Hold on, wait for the microphone, please.
Thanks. You guys must have had a stronger reaction than that if you didn't know you were going to the tournament and then you found out. Like, really, what was it like?
Yeah, I'll take that one. We knew we'd have a postseason based on the things we did this year, but it was just knowing that, you can do the wrong thing almost and end up with the same goal. It was a great feeling. We were extremely excited because that's been our goal all year, to make it here. Having a postseason was huge for us, but being able to be in this position despite having some setbacks and some things not go our way, we're just blessed to say the least.
Quick follow-up.
What would you say is the personality of this team? You guys had a great regular season.
We play to our strengths very well, I believe. We know what we do well, and we figure that out very, very early in the season. Seeing that we're all basically returners, all except for the new guys we added and a couple guys leaving. This is exactly what we talked about, being in this position. And it's just, I think our personality is just we play to our strengths well. We know what we do, and we try and exploit people based on that.
Question in the middle in the back.
Thank you. Johnny Condon, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. Brandon, this one for you again. You obviously played at a traditional blue blood at UNC. You have tournament experience before. How is it going to be different for you now? You're in a mid-major program, you're a 15 seed, and you've gone from being the top dog, and a lot of times you're the favorite in these games, to now you're a 15.5-point underdog. How's that mindset change, and how do you feel like your tournament experience can trickle down to some of your other teammates that have never been on a stage like this before?
I think there's a level of experience that comes with it, having seen some of this. My role is definitely bigger. Me and this guy here, we've been in this position before. Actually, the last time I was in the NCAA tournament, I played against Auburn. So it's kind of just a full circle moment for us, having experience in this tournament early on, me and him. But it really just helps us kind of prepare the younger guys and some of the guys who haven't been in this position for what they're about to see, and I think it'll be good for us.
Right there.
Hi, Brandon, we're just going to stick with you here, or really any of you, Michael Rothstein from ESPN. In terms of the whole, losing your conference tournament final and still being in, what's like the weirdest interaction you've had with somebody who maybe didn't realize that that was going to happen? Like whether it's a family member or a friend, a text message being like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, was there anything like that for you guys?
There's been quite a bit of that, answering a lot of questions. Sometimes almost being in the dark for some of them ourselves, knowing how it happened or how it had to work. Like I said, we knew we'd have a postseason, but the way that this happened is beyond what we could imagine. So I think it's just been kind of strange here and there, having to answer questions that you don't always understand all the way.
Right here down front in the middle.
For Brandon, TomGreenale.com. Obviously, you mentioned the last time you were in the postseason, you played Auburn. But when you were at UNC, how familiar were you with Walker Kessler? I know he wasn't there yet, but he was obviously committed at some point when you were there.
Actually, I remember, I think the only interaction in time we've met was his official visit. I've heard he's a really good guy. As far as what I've seen, he seems to be a great kid, so it should be a great chance to compete against him.
Right here in the middle first.
Hey, this one's for Brandon and Darian. Y'all have both been in the NCAA tournament, Darian with Troy and Brandon with UNC. What's the outlook like, compared to those times with those teams instead with Jacksonville State?
It's different this time, I feel, probably for both of us. I mean, probably the first two times we came, we weren't the bigger pieces of the team, but now we're different. Like, we're the bigger pieces of the team this time. So I feel like we got a bigger responsibility role than we did the first time. So I just feel like now it's just time for us to do something different and just be leaders out there since we've been here before.
Same exact thing, just following up off what he said. We're bigger pieces of both of our teams this time. I'd say this feels like mine. This feels like my own. Seeing that we're here in the postseason and we had to work all year to be here, it just feels like we own it this time.
Curiosep out of Birmingham as well. I want to ask this to all of you guys if you're open to answering this, but of course with this talk about earning the second chance in the tournament, I can imagine there's a chip on your shoulder a little bit to prove your worth here, and then obviously you get matched up with an in-state foe with Auburn, and you've seen the attention with the team all year. Do you guys feel like that you're going to be playing with that chip on your shoulder to kind of not only make a statement for your team and what you guys done of all year long, but also this in-state, not that there's a rivalry, but maybe there?
I'd say for sure. All season I feel like we played well, and just to lose to Jacksonville in that semifinal, it definitely hurt. But when we found out we had a second chance, we definitely got to have a chip on our shoulder. We've been going hard every day in practice and competing against one another. So we're definitely ready for the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bigger chip on our shoulder. We've always had the chip on our shoulder the whole season. I mean, we've seen everything that people have been saying, so we just feel like this is the challenge, and if we step up to it, then it's a time to just let the critics know that we for real.
Yes, we definitely have that chip on our shoulder. From coming into a conference after switching from the OVC last year, we haven't quite got the respect we felt we deserved. But to have the year that we have, despite not having that, I think that's kind of been a theme for us, and I think our coach would speak to that. He knows a lot of these coaches. He knows a lot of these teams. It was new for all of us, seeing that the scouts have to be different, even down to the hotels and where we're going. It's definitely been something that we've played with, and I think that's been a huge theme for our year.
Following from what they said, having that chip on our shoulder, I feel like we've always had a target on our backs. Mic check. 1, 2. I think the electric's. Hello.
Now you're
Hello. Okay, yeah. Even transitioning from the OVC to the ASUN, I feel like we've always had that target on our backs, and teams have always been out to get us. So I feel like we've always had like a chance to prove ourselves throughout, and we have this season. And even us having a good run, I feel like we've done our job, and people are still doubting us, even though we've proved we are a good team. And I feel like the job's not done yet. We still have a lot more to do.
All right, we got these last 4 questions will be it. We'll get them in order, but we might turn over to one Zoom question. But right down here.
Yeah, Bennett Durando, the Montgomery Advertiser. For any of you, has Coach Harper told y'all any stories from his time at Kentucky Wesleyan going up against Bruce Pearl in that rivalry that they had at D2?
I haven't heard exactly, but I was on Twitter recently and I've seen a lot of tweets regarding him and Bruce Pearl. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see those 2 interactions during the game.
I haven't heard anything about that. With a guy like Coach Harper, he's been in this game a long time. He's a really great basketball mind. That's something he probably wouldn't think is notable to us, but I mean, that would probably shock me to have heard it. This is my first time hearing that.
All right, right down here on the right.
Aaron Beard with the Associated Press. This is for Brandon. How you're playing for a coach now that has had a lot of postseason success at lower levels and has been around the game a while, like you just said. Your previous stop, the same thing, a guy who had a lot of postseason success. How much does that matter to coaches or players in terms of playing for a coach that you get to the postseason and you know they've been successful with what they do in the postseason?
Definitely means a lot. We've heard about it all year. This has been our goal. We fell short in the OVC tournament last year. This is just really all we've been fighting for this year, especially after winning the first conference championship in our D1 school history. It's been huge for us. Seeing the things we've done all year, we really just wanted to make this the cherry on top as far as what we've done. So we're here, and this is everything we fought for.
Okay, Kayne. A couple questions. What's the biggest difference between London and Jacksonville, Alabama?
The food, the weather, the people, the accents, pretty much everything. It's a whole different vibe, whole different culture, whole lot of getting used to. It took me about a year to fully adapt to like everything. I'm still not fully used to my teammates. They still annoy me, but I'm cool with them. I love them. But yeah, I love it. I love Jacksonville.
Quick follow-up.
What has been the journey like for you to now? And then also, did you ever meet Luol Deng along the way?
I met Luol Deng before I came to America. We had he has something like he has a top 50 camp that he hosts every year, and it's like a ranking camp. And I went to one of those. It's like a 5-day. It's basically like a showcase type of thing. Took part in that, and my journey it's been pretty up and down. Had a lot of setbacks, a lot of ups and downs between my career. My freshman year as a Division I JUCO in San Jacinto, was in Pasadena, just outside Houston. I was there for 1 year. They shut down the program due to funding. Transferred to Northwest Florida. Then came here to Jacksonville. Transferred to Jacksonville. Sorry, and I've been here ever since. But it's been a good 5 years. Loved it.
All right, final question in the back end here, and then we'll have a Zoom question.
This is also for Kayne, kind of similar with growing up in London question. Growing up across the pond, did you have a chance to fill out a bracket when you were younger? How much college basketball do you watch? And do you kind of know just how big this tournament is here in America? Because I know the NBA does a good job of internationally trying to expand their brand, but I just wonder, did you grow up watching college basketball?
I didn't really follow college basketball too much back home, but my coaches were very big on it. They would always talk about it, fill out brackets, all of that kind of stuff. But I've always heard about it like here and there, but I didn't really realize how big it was till I actually came to the States. And me being here now is it's kind of like a wow factor for me. It's like I still can't believe I'm here, but it's a good experience.
Our final question will go to Patrick on Zoom. Allow him to talk right now. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hey, how you doing? My question is for Jaylen Gibbs. This is Patrick Waring from the NBS Sports Hour. Jaylen, you have a lot of family, friends, supporters in Charles County, Indian Head, Maryland. Just wanted to ask you if you had a message for everybody back home.
I know I got a lot of people back home watching me right now, and I just want to thank them just for supporting me the whole year, and always being beside me and supporting me. I got a lot of love in Maryland, and I'm just ready to play and show them what this team is made about.
Thanks, Patrick. All right, that'll do it for our student athletes. Thank you, guys. You can return to your locker rooms, and we appreciate your time. Everybody remember that a recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts were provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back just as shortly with Coach Harper. Steve, you got these? Doing well. All right, we're going to be joined now by Coach Ray Harper. We're going to start with an opening statement from Coach.
First, just really excited to be here, excited for these kids that you just had the opportunity to interview. A great group of guys that have worked extremely hard to put themselves in a position to be playing tomorrow. And I know they're excited and prepared for the challenge ahead of us.
All right, we're going to open up for questions. Remember, just as we did a minute ago, give your name and your affiliation. Questions? Right here in the middle first.
Ray, your player, Joe Goodman, AL.com. Ray, your players didn't seem to know the situation at the tournament. Were you aware of the fact that you guys were going to be the team if Bellarmine lost?
They knew as of Saturday night after we lost. They didn't know prior, nor did I. But, we did talk to them on Saturday night after I told them this is not going to define our season. We'll get ready for the NIT if that's the tournament we're playing in. But, they had a tremendous regular season, was regular season conference champions, and, it worked out for us.
Ray, over here.
Next question.
Yep. Michael Rothstein from ESPN. So to follow on that a little bit, so what are your emotions in that moment because you said you didn't necessarily totally know either. What's that like for you emotionally?
Initially?
Yeah, initially.
Well, I'd already met with the team, and like I said, in the locker room after the game, and told them this game will not define our season. We've had a great season. We'll take a couple of days off, get prepared for the NIT, which we thought would probably be our next step. And then I find out 10 minutes later that that's not necessarily the case. So I guess you can understand the range of emotions, and then having to wait until Tuesday. It's kind of like being on the bubble and at large. You got to wait and see what happens.
Next question down here on the right.
Aaron Beard with the Associated Press. You've been around the game a good while. You've won championships at lower levels. I'm curious, how do you view sort of coaching experience in the postseason, how valuable it is? I mean, X's and O's versus Johnny's and Joe's, right? About the players versus the coaches. How much impact do you think tournament experience from the sideline can matter?
I think it helps. I think having players with experience helps. Again, been fortunate to be around some really good teams and to win some national championships, to play in NCAA tournaments, and I'm thankful of the opportunities I've had, but I've had those opportunities because of the type of kids that you saw sitting up here earlier, and that's why we're here today.
Next question in the middle, down low.
Hey, Ray. Nathan King, 24/7 Sports. Bruce talked earlier this week, about y'all back in the 90s and y'all going against each other. Just what kind of memories do you have of, obviously, both of y'all being young coaches? He said you normally got the best of him in that rivalry. Just what do you remember about going against him back then?
I was younger than him, so that's why I got the best of him. You know, we really, I thought, created something of interest to those communities. Our schools were separated by about 40 miles. You couldn't get a ticket to their game at their place. You couldn't get a ticket at our place. And then when the conference tournament would roll around, seated 10,000, you couldn't get a ticket to that game. I thought it was great for both universities. I will say this, we were two really competitive guys, but I had the utmost respect for what he was doing and what he did. Now, for those 40 minutes, I was going to try like crazy to kick his tail, and he was going to do the same to us. But when it was over, I don't know that I respected anyone anymore in that league than I did Bruce Pearl.
Right here in the back, baby right there.
Hey, Coach, Georgia Chambers, WFF TV. Going off that, you know, obviously with different teams now, but you're facing off again. What emotions are going through your head as you're going to see another team, but Bruce Pearl again on the court tomorrow?
I can't wait to see Bruce. I haven't seen Bruce in a while. I get to see him on television. Now I get to see him up close and personal like the old days. You know, and then we get to see his lovely team. That'll be a lot of fun. But I know our guys are looking forward to it. And again, it's going to come down to execution on our part to have a chance. We're going to have to play smart. I don't think we necessarily have to play perfect, but we will have to play really well tomorrow afternoon.
Right down here.
Mark Murphy from 24/7 Sports and Inside the Auburn Tigers. You guys shot the three really well this year. How important is that going to be for tomorrow's game?
We need to let them rain and see them go in. You know, we've got the leading three-point shooter in the country in Damari King. Jaylen Gibbs was top 5 all year. I think we were 3rd overall percentage-wise as a team. So I think it's important, but we can play other ways, and we have. But I'd sure like to see them let them fly and see them hitting the bottom of the net tomorrow afternoon. That would help.
Hey, Ray, TomGreenale.com. Just going back to your kind of rivalry with Bruce on Selection Sunday, when you saw your team's name pop up next to Auburn's, I guess, what was your initial reaction when you realized you were going to be facing him again?
That we better start getting prepared because I know he is. That was the one thing that I really remember is we knew when we were getting ready to face his teams that we had to be locked in to details. You know, they do a great job on their baseline out of bounds. We would know that we better guard their baseline out of bounds like no other. And same thing, just getting the ball in versus them on baseline out of bounds. Just those little things in particular. And how hard his team was going to play. And I'm sure that'll be the case tomorrow afternoon. But, you know, I think it wouldn't have mattered who popped up. We were going to be excited and knew we were going to have a huge challenge. And just so happened to be a in-state team and a guy I know well, and Bruce from Auburn.
Back middle.
Hey, Coach. Carrie Osep, WVTM out of Birmingham. I just want to ask you, being a mid-major program, obviously you can see the guys, what you're talking about, and the heart that they put on the court, but unfortunately, it doesn't get to be shown on the big stage as much as a team like Auburn. So I want to know for you, just having a chance to see your guys have this moment, what does that mean to the team, and what does that mean for you to see them take advantage of this opportunity?
It means everything. I mean, you know, we talked about it from the minute these guys got back in June. We had some guys that could have moved on and finished up, but they had a goal, and they wanted to use that COVID year, come back, stay together, and our goal was to win an ASUN regular season championship. We did that, play in the NCAA tournament. We're going to do that tomorrow. And these are memories that'll last a lifetime. Those guys are the only team ever in Jacksonville State history to win a regular season conference championship, and you will never be able to take that away from them. You know, it's exciting, and they've been a good group. We coached them hard. They work hard, but they never blinked. They knew they had their eye on the finish line, and just happy they get this opportunity now.
Back middle.
Hey, Coach. Johnny Condon, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. We were talking to Kayne just a couple minutes ago, and he's had quite the journey from JUCO to JUCO, one program getting shut down. Obviously, he comes to America from London. Can you just speak to his resiliency and how he's been able to help your program and what he gives you on the both on and off the floor on a night in, night out basis?
Did you like his accent? I can't do his accent. Kayne's been terrific. He's one of the nicest kids you would ever want to be around. You know, he came here as in playing JUCO his first year. He had just turned 17 years old. Still a young kid, but first time I had the opportunity to see him, he played for a good friend of ours at Northwest Florida, and what a tremendous athlete, and just could see the potential in Kayne. And if Kayne would tell you, I probably have coached him harder than most kids because I could see the potential in Kayne and just trying to get him to understand how good he could really be. I don't think he understands even today how good he can be. He's got a lot of basketball ahead of him. If he can tap into not being such a nice guy on the court as he is off the court, I think the sky's the limit for that young man, and I fully expect him to do some special things going forward.
Got time for a couple more questions. Anybody else have a question? Down low. Aaron?
Ray, I'm gonna follow up on the experience question I was asking you about with you. What does a coach learn most in competing deep into postseason tournaments like you've done? Like, are there certain lessons that can only be learned in postseason for a coach, or is it the same things you learned during a regular season over time?
Well, I've been asked that question a lot. I'll be honest with you, because we have had so much success in postseason. I mean, at one point we played in, I think it was 9 straight national championship games. And as I look back at that, I mean, it's really incredible. I didn't think about it much at the time. I remember my wife one year was talking about, now, when is the national championship game this year? And I was like, babe, that doesn't mean because they're playing this day we're going to be playing. Yeah, we played in the last 6, but that doesn't mean we're going to get to play in that. As I reflected back on it, it truly was amazing. But I think more so than the game itself was the preparation leading into the game. How did we prepare? Why were we always so ready to play in that game? And I thought back to a guy who was a mentor for me, Wayne Chapman, who I worked for at Kentucky Wesleyan. And he always preached fresh legs, fresh minds. And when you watch us get into February and early March, you may not see us go very long, but we'll go hard. We'd get in, we'd get our work done. We may practice 45 minutes. And the thing is, if they don't know what they're doing now, I can't help them. I mean, we've been doing this since June. So if we don't know what we're doing, we're going to have problems tomorrow at 12:40. So the biggest thing right now with me is keep these guys fresh mentally and make sure they got fresh legs to be ready to go tomorrow, because they're going to need them at 12:40. So I think that's the biggest thing, is the preparation more so than the game itself.
Final question here before we have a Zoom question.
Okay, I was going to say, if I have a chance, I have 2 questions for you. But one, to keep it on Kayne really quick, I want to know, what does British ball bring to the floor? As coming from the UK, just the fact, I'm curious, when you're playing ball in the UK, what differences do you see from Kayne that he's brought to the floor? And then 2, just what can this kind of journey and going to the tournament do for a program moving forward as well?
Well, Kayne, I think I understood the question. The difference in the games themselves from the United Kingdom to the United States, I think it's the physicality of the game. Here in the United States, he was not accustomed to getting hit. He didn't always like to get hit. He's gotten used to it because he gets hit a lot in practice. And I kind of urge him to, you better get back in there. I don't want to see you over here. Do not become our trainer's best friend. Stay on the floor. And some of that's probably where I go back to being hard on him. And he's really adjusted to that. And then question 2 was, I lost my train of thought thinking about Kayne.
I know, no problem. So you get lost in the accent, right?
Yes.
So I just want to know, what does a run in a tournament or just making an appearance in a tournament do for a program moving forward? I mean, you've seen that happen before, but for this JSU program moving forward regardless.
Right. I mean, this is our second appearance in the last 6 years. And kids want to play in the NCAA tournament. So when in recruiting, you have to be able to sell the opportunity and the potential to be able to play postseason. I think we can do that. I think going forward, obviously we're going to need some new guys next year, and we'd like to play in this thing again next year. So we obviously are going to need some really good players. So that's going to be what we're selling to some guys that want to be impact players at the next level. They can do that here at Jack State and play in NCAA tournaments.
All right, we got one question on Zoom, Coach. Patrick, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, Patrick Waring from the NBS Sports Hour. You brought up Jaylen Gibbs a little while ago. Just wanted to kind of ask you what jumped out to you about Jaylen when you were, I guess, looking at him before he transferred in, and then when did you realize this group was going to do something special?
Well, the thing with Jaylen, obviously we couldn't go on the road recruiting last year. So everything was off of synergy that I was watching on him. But more importantly, the conversations I had on the phone with him. Just a tremendous young man. He was all about wanting to be somewhere where he could win. He never talked about minute playing time. He didn't talk about averaging 20 points. He talked about, Coach, I want to be somewhere where we can play in the NCAA tournament. And I will say this, I think the minute I knew this group could be special was when they got there in the summer. And I'll give Jaylen Gibbs a lot of credit. I mean, he came in from day one, and you couldn't do anything as a teammate but respect him because of his work ethic, his attitude. You know what you're going to get every day with him. You're going to get a guy that's going to play extremely hard. You're going to get a guy that's going to have a great attitude. He's had games of 40 points this year, and he's had games where he didn't shoot it well and didn't score a lot. But he still was on the floor because of his effort, his attitude, and he's always going to bring it on the defensive end. So I love Jaylen Gibbs, and the only thing I can say about him is he's a winner.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, Miami will be in here at 11:05. We'll start with the players. Once again, remember the recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us.